In the CFOP method, after you solve F2L, or the first layers, the next step is to orient the entire top layer such that only yellow is on top. Now there are 57 algorithms for this, which may sound a little bit daunting, which is why you can learn the 2-look OLL version, which does take 2 steps, but only has 10 algorithms, so generally it's a lot easier to learn. So there are 2 main steps to the 2-look OLL. So as its name suggests, the 2-look OLL has 2 steps. The first step is to orient all of the edges such that you have a yellow cross on top. Then the next step will be to orient all the corners, and then you will have all yellow on top. Also, all of the algorithms, ways to memorize them, and more will be on the PDF, which I have linked in the description below. Feel free to download or even print it out. Now I'm gonna show algorithms in terms of notation. If you don't know cube notation, then it's perfectly fine. You can just watch what my hands do. But I do highly recommend that you learn how to read cube notation. Before you start learning the algorithms, there are 4 basic triggers that you have to know. They are sexy move, which is R, U, R prime, U prime. You can just try that a few times to make sure you get the hang of it. And then you have reverse sexy move, which is U, R, U prime, R prime. We have sledgehammer, which is R prime, F, R, F prime. And then we have reverse sledgehammer, which is F, R prime, F prime, R. Now you don't necessarily have to learn these triggers, but I think that these are really beneficial as these groups of 4 moves will appear very often in these algorithms, and it really helps to just know the muscle memory for them. Now for the first step, which is orienting all the edges, there are 4 possible cases. The first case is when all you have is a center and none of the edges are correctly oriented. The second case is where you have an L shape such that there are 2 oriented edges that are close to each other. The third case is when you have 2 oriented edges that are opposite from each other, which sort of forms a bar or line. And lastly, we have the case where all 4 of our cross edges are oriented and we can skip the first step. So in the case where you have a bar or a line, what you want to do is to take the bar and hold it horizontally, and then you'll do this move, which is where you move the front face clockwise, and then you do the sexy move, which is R, U, R prime, U prime, and then you can just move the front layer back with F prime. So once again, you turn the front layer clockwise and clock goes this way, so like this, R, U, R prime, U prime, and just turn the front face back. So if the 2 oriented cross edges are right next to each other and it forms sort of an L shape, you take this L shape and you put it towards the bottom right. And then you turn the front clockwise like before, but instead of just turning 1 layer, you'll turn 2 layers at once, do the 4 moves, the sexy move, R, U, R prime, U prime, and you move the front layer back, but make sure to move both layers back at the same time. So this is basically the same as the bar or line algorithm, except that instead of doing 1 F move at the beginning, you're doing a wide F move, so you're turning 2 layers at once, then the sexy move, and then you move both layers back like so. And that should orient all the edges. And this is the final case. This is when there is just a dot or the center and none of the cross edges are oriented. In this case, what you do is you can do the algorithm for the bar, which is when there's a horizontal line, which goes like this, F, sexy move, F prime, and just like that, now you'll have the L shape or the L case, which is when 2 of the oriented cross edges are right next to each other, and you can do the algorithm for that, which goes wide F, sexy move, wide F prime. And just like that, you have finished the first step and all of your cross edges are oriented. In the case where you already have a cross on the top, then you can skip this step and go straight to step 2. Time for step 2, where you orient all the corners. There are 3 groups of algorithms for this. The first group is when, apart from the cross, you have one of the corners that is oriented and has yellow facing up. The second group is when 2 of them are oriented and facing up. And the last group is when none of them are facing up and you just have a yellow cross. So first, we're going to take a look at the algorithms where you only have 1 corner oriented. So if there's only 1 corner oriented, there are 2 possible cases. The first case is when if you put the yellow on the bottom left, you should have the yellow sticker facing you on the right side. The second case is when even if you put the 1 oriented corner on the left side, there is no yellow facing you and instead the yellow is facing outwards. So now first, we're going to take a look at the case where the yellow is facing you. Hold it from this side, such that the oriented corner is on the bottom left, and do this algorithm. R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime. If you find it hard to memorize the notation, just visualize this pair right here. You take the pair out, move it all the way to the end, and put it back in all in one go, like so. This is the next case. As you can see, the yellow sticker is facing away and not facing you. If this is the case, put this oriented corner all the way at the back right, like so, such that you have this corner facing you on the left side. Then you'll do R, U2, R prime, U prime, R, U prime, R prime. So if you find it hard to memorize, once again you can just visualize the movements of this pair. So in the beginning, you move it all the way to the end, then you move it here and just insert it. Next up, we have the cases when we only have a yellow cross on top. When you only have yellow cross on top, there are two possible cases. The first case is when you have two oriented corners facing you and the other two are facing the back. The next case is that the two oriented corners are facing you, but these corners are facing in opposite directions. So first, taking a look at the one where they are facing you and away from you. Hold it from this angle such that you are facing two oriented corners. You turn the front face clockwise and you do the sexy move. But instead of only doing it one time, like the bar, you do it 3 times, like so. R, U, R prime, U prime. R, U, R prime, U prime. R, U, R prime, U prime. And then you can just turn this front layer back and you should have solved OLL. So in the second case, you'll take this pair of oriented corners and make it face the left. And then you do this algorithm. R, U2, R2, U prime, R2, U prime, R2, U2, R. Now I know that may sound kind of confusing, but let me walk you through it. So basically, you take this pair out with R, U2, R prime. You take out this pair in the back. You insert this pair over here. And you insert this pair into the back with R prime, U2, R. So once again, take this pair out. Take the pair out in the back. Insert this pair into the front. And insert this pair of R prime, U2, R. Now, we've come to the group where there are two oriented corners. There are 3 possible cases for this. The first case is that there are 2 oriented corners such that it makes sort of a T shape here. And then we have 2 oriented corners facing you. This case is pretty much the same as this, except that instead of these 2 corners facing you, they are facing away from each other. The last case is when they are diagonal from each other. So starting off with the case where they are diagonal from each other. So what you do is you make it such that you have a yellow sticker facing you on your left side, like so. As you can see, this yellow sticker is facing you. Then you do this algorithm. F, R prime, F prime, R, U, R, U prime, R prime. So basically, you remember the reverse sledgehammer I taught earlier? You do the reverse sledgehammer, but instead of just doing an R, for the last move, you'll do a wide R. And then from here, you do the reverse sexy move, but you end with a wide move. So once again, reverse sledgehammer, ending with a wide move, and reverse sexy, also ending with a wide move. Now taking a look at this case. So for this case, the algorithm is the complete reverse of the previous algorithm. So in this case, where there are 2 oriented corners and these 2 are facing away from each other, you hold once again such that you have a yellow sticker facing you on the left side, and you do this algorithm. Sexy move, but starting with a wide R, like so. And sledgehammer, but once again, you start with a wide R. So once again, you have sexy move, but starting off with a wide R. And sledgehammer, but also starting with a wide R prime. Now this is the last case, and I've saved it for last because this is arguably the hardest 2-look OLL algorithm. So this is when you have 2 oriented corners, and these 2 are facing you. So you hold the 2 oriented corners in the back, and you do this algorithm. I know it might seem a little bit long and hard, but don't worry, I'll walk you through it. So you do R2, so you turn this layer twice. D, which is turning the bottom layer. But make sure you turn it this way, like this, not the other way. Turn it to this side. R prime, U2, R, and then you turn this layer back. R prime, U2, R prime. So once again, R2, move the bottom layer towards the right, like so. R prime, U2, R, then move the bottom layer back towards the left. R prime, U2, R prime. So if you're still having trouble memorizing it, you can visualize the movements of this pair. Do an R2, do a D move, R prime, move this pair all the way over there, R, move the bottom layer back, and then insert this pair with R prime, U2, R prime. So that's gonna wrap it up for this tutorial. If you're new here, I make tutorials on how you can get faster with the Rubik's Cube. If you want to level up your CFOP solving speed, you're always welcome to check out one of my beginner, intermediate to advanced, cross, F12, OLL, and PLL tutorials. On the end screen, I'll link a few tutorials which I think will be beneficial to someone who just learned to look OLL. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.